All right, and we are recording. Phil, how are you, darling?
I'm good, thank you, mate. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right, mate. Yeah.
Cool. Bit boiling up here in this room with this skylight. The sun's on it, and it's like an oven.
All right. Have you got one of those Velux things?
Yeah. It's just like a greenhouse up here. We haven't had a hot day for ages, but now we have, and so it turns the upstairs into a proper microwave. But
Right.
that's fine. Yes. So I was just telling you just before we hit record about the run-in with the Chorley Witch, and it was very strange. Somebody tagged me in it. You got to go check it out. It's she's put up a study about how meat causes kidney disease, and it was just the old chestnut, and I couldn't resist, so in I went with no science, but a reasonable turn of phrase, and then it was just put up the science or shut up. So I thought I'll send her to a Paul Saladino one with John Venus, where they're going through every study you could possibly imagine. And she just clicked on it and obviously saw it was a YouTube video like the vegans do and say, hey, there's no studies. So they go through loads of them. You can go and have a look at them. Just pick whichever one you want. In the real world, I'm seeing people fixing kidney issues, and I fixed mine.
Just anecdotes, though, Phil. Just anecdotes. There's no actual evidence there, is there? Just anecdotes. That's all you've got.
I know. It's absolutely nuts. I just don't understand that perspective. What don't they need a study for?
Well, I don't know. What they probably could start with would be really good, I reckon, Phil, is actually if they could start being honest, if they could start being reasonable, upstanding human beings whose word is good. I don't know if you saw the run-in I had with her recently. I asked YouTube to do something about a couple of her videos that I felt were in breach of my copyright. Which, she only really, to be honest, she only really got that treatment from me because of her, friendly nature and ease of dealing with her. But I thought, well, what the hell, it makes the point. And she got her nose all out of joint about that. And actually what happened, she got really scared because she got two copyright strikes. And she'd had a third one the week before from Tristan, actually, for the same reason, frankly. But it's all my fault, Anyway, that happened. And so she made a deal with Tristan, and he had withdrawn the strike. Had he not done that, when they actually got issued 2 strikes from me, that would have been her 3rd strike and she would have been out of there. So unfortunately, it didn't work that way. She made the deal with Tristan. That was fine. She got 2 strikes nominally from me. Well, they're actually from YouTube at my behest. But she then made a deal with me publicly. Well, it's public because I made it public. It was in writing in the emails. And she welched on that deal with me within 12 hours. Unbelievable. Just a lying sack of spuds, basically. Anyway, so yeah,
it is a shame. I don't know. I don't honestly have anything to do with the wars anymore, but it was just that one. It was so ridiculous. This old chestnut that the meat causes kidney disease. I mean, God, to me, it's just really simple. You don't need any studies. Go look for a natural bodybuilder that's got kidney disease, and you don't find them. They would be falling down with it like flies. It's so obvious. It's like a no-brainer. But no, off they go. Need the studies. Very strange. I just don't understand that. I mean, I quite like looking into the science. I like listening to you. I like listening to Paul Saladino, and I like to listen to it because I go, that's why that worked. I have my own brain, and I try things out, and I see things happen in other people. I go, I wonder why that's working. Oh, right, Bart. Okay, Paul, that's how it worked. But, this business of not being able to even have a wank without having a study on something, unbelievable. I can't.
But it has to be high level and associative. No actual evidence. Goodness, no. None of that. None of that. Just make sure you've got some high-level associative stuff, and that'll do. Because
Very
the actual science doesn't support them. That's why they're not interested in the actual science.
I know. I know.
It's just crazy shit.
Anyway,
so
Bart, you're shifting over platforms and stuff, and what's going on? Because I'm really interested in this, and we've been talking about it with the Human Unleashed stuff as well.
Yep.
You know, with these chats we've been doing with COVID, and I think we're probably sailing pretty close to the wind ourselves. I'm finding that you know, like Tristan, and I don't know if you are too, but people are getting unsubscribed. I think we're having our views. Yeah, we're having our views.
But I'll give you a quick rundown on what's been happening with the YouTube platform, how YouTube has been conducting itself, at least with respect to my channel. And I know, as you're saying, you know, I know I'm not the only one suffering these injustices, but I'll just give you a rundown. Nobody is receiving notifications. Even people who are subscribed and hit the bell icon, they're not getting them. Okay, so YouTube is not telling people that I'm online. YouTube is not telling people I've posted new material at all. Okay. Up until a few weeks ago, they stopped entirely from promoting my videos on the, you know, this is a video you might like to see sort of thing that they do. They stopped doing that for anyone who was not already subscribed to my channel. They stopped doing it months ago. A couple of weeks ago, they stopped promoting my material even to people who are subscribed to my channel. Also, in the last 4 months, around about 5,000 people have been summarily unsubscribed from my channel without their knowledge by YouTube. 5,000 of them. Unbelievable. On top of that,
have you been going on about anything sensitive, like you know, vax or you know, climate change or anything like that? I mean, is it just nutrition science, or have you
okay, I am known to be a what do they call them? They call them climate change deniers, is what they call them, which is funny because I've never denied that the climate changes at any time. Actually, it does. It's always done so. It will continue to do so without let or hindrance to its full enjoyment for the rest of the existence of the planet. Of course, it will. What I have repeatedly said is that carbon dioxide gas or methane is not the cause of the change. And I have outlined the science underpinning that, which obviously pisses off the climate scientists who actually are not using any of the science. They are using high-level stuff. There's a research team, a father and son team in Ireland called the Connollys. And they both have PhDs in physics, and they have put forward a series of papers where they have shown the absolute, it would seem irrefutable proof that carbon dioxide, the greenhouse effect, cannot possibly work. The short version for people that want to know is our atmosphere is in thermodynamic equilibrium from top to bottom. Whoops, that's the end of the greenhouse gas theory right there. It can't work. It is a violation of the laws of physics as we understand them to be. So there's that one. Yes, I have said that. I was vocal at one point a few months ago about COVID, suggesting that yes, it's real. Yes, it does exist. No, this is not a made-up thing. It is a real virus. Yes, it is being transmitted. It will be transmitted. Everybody in the world will be exposed at some point. All we're doing here is slowing things down. Flattening the curve doesn't change the area under that curve. It just spreads it out over time. The analogy I was using was, do you want to rip that Band-Aid off quickly or slowly? X number of people are going to die, but it's a lot fewer people than what we're told are going to die. as a proportion of the population. And in fact, the people who are going to die are people who have some serious comorbidities and risk factors that will predispose them to death from COVID. Those being insulin resistance, obesity, and all of the sequelae involved in, having followed the gold standard advice for a number of years and eaten all your healthy whole grains and avoiding all that nasty saturated fat and animal products, that kind of stuff. So that kind of got under some skins, I think. Also, I've been particularly vocal about vegans being the worst kind of ass hats, the worst kind of cockwombles there are. So in general, I have been subversive. I won't say I haven't. So anyway, 5,000.
On those lines, we've got, I think, like 18 episodes of discussing this whole business, the COVID thing, and we put them on our Human Unleashed thing, but I'll put them on my channel as well. And we're getting maybe 1,000 views on each, so they say. But I've got not just people online, I've got people coming up to me in the shops and saying, I've seen your series on COVID. You're the guys keeping us sane. You're speaking all the proper stuff and asking all the right questions here. So you're telling me that I've got 1,000 views worldwide and people in the shops who don't even know me are recognizing me locally. It's not happening, Yeah.
So YouTube are being dishonest, absolutely, about how many times the video has been viewed. They are misreporting statistics, and you can bet your bottom dollar you're not being paid for the views that you have legitimately obtained. I've got the same thing going on, to the point now, Phil, where with 14,000 subs, and that's after they've removed the 5,000 or so that have been removed, I am getting less than 1,000 views on most of my uploads. They're getting demonetized the second I upload them, irrespective of whether there's anything in them that should be demonetized or not. When I'm doing a live stream, for which I would normally have a couple of hundred people watching, I'm getting 50 if I'm lucky. And I've got people telling me that they are trying to watch it and they're getting buffering. So in other words, there are X number of nodes available for people to watch my stuff. And once I've got as many people watching as YouTube wants to allow, they're blocking everybody else out from watching it. They can't watch it because YouTube doesn't want them to. They want to keep my streams smaller and stuff. What else has been going on? If you punch my name...
I've got a weird one that happened yesterday. I put up a chat, one of my more sort of esoteric, spiritually chats with Zahir Khan, my good friend. And we had a great chat. I put it up on the channel and somebody put up fantastic info, but totally spoiled by an enormous amount of adverts. I'm like, really? And then I've noticed that they put it on automatic setting that you get adverts popping up every 5 seconds. So I had to go switch it off. I'm not getting paid for them anyway, I bet. So why on earth have they put that on as a standard thing? I mean, it's weird. There's so many odd things going on.
Because their entire line of action is to sabotage you, basically, without even particularly hiding it, really. Here's a good one. I had, a few months back, I had channel memberships enabled. And so people could pay at various levels that I set to be a member of my channel, for which they get various perks and stuff. Those people are not safe from being unsubscribed summarily from my channel. They are paid members. Also, YouTubers cancelling their memberships without telling them they've done it. Unbelievable.
And they're still paying?
No, they're not even telling these people that. But what's happening is they are turning off their memberships. They are not charging their credit card anymore. They're not telling them they've done that. They're not telling me they've done it. So people will go back several months later and go, I didn't cancel that. And then they resubscribe again. I mean, I've had several members who have rejoined my channel 3 times in a week, for example. So
yeah, I've heard this from Tristan as well. You know, I mean, all of that stuff that we put out about COVID, and I know there's been loads of views. I put out loads of other stuff as well, and I've been stuck on exactly the same amount of subscribers for about, I don't know, 5 or 6 months. Yeah.
Yeah, same here, same here. So what happens is, it doesn't matter how many people subscribe to my channel. Funnily enough, give or take a few, every day the same number of people are unsubscribing, or actually being unsubscribed is more to the point. So I guess at the end of the day, what I'm saying is that the fuckery has got to a level that is completely untenable for me. I don't have another job. I don't have... this has been my focus. I've put my heart and soul into this thing. I've built a successful brand. I've built a successful YouTube channel. By now, my subscriber numbers should be well beyond 20,000. They're not. They're at 14,100 and have been for about, as you say, 4 or 5, 6 months. I'm locked there. People are not allowed to watch my live streams. People are not being advised of my material. If you put my name into the search window in YouTube, it pretends I don't exist. Now, my name has been the single biggest search term that people have used to find my material. It's well over half of my entire views, which are about 2 million in the history of my channel. So it's a real term. It's well known. Up until a few weeks ago, you could punch my name into any search engine and the first 10 pages are pictures of me, videos that I've put out, stuff about what I'm up to. Suddenly now I don't exist for many, many people.
You know, I've noticed this as well. Sometimes, you know, I do these little vids that are on certain little subjects. If somebody comes and asks me something, it's easier to link to a vid. And I can punch in my name and just one word from the vid, up it comes, up it comes. Not anymore.
No.
You know, there's one particularly that I've noticed that's getting really buried, which is the one where I did a little section of a talk I did where I showed my mum's breast cancer reversing. And I always wondered why that didn't get many views. Like I've got one other one from that talk that's just boring. I mean, it's called Myths About Meat, and it got like 250,000 views or something. And this breast cancer one, I thought, reversing breast cancer, shocking pic warning. Who's not going to click on that? Who knows somebody with breast cancer? That's going to be a winner, that one. I think it's still on about 3,000 views. And I'm thinking, really? I don't know. And I can't find it. Even if you type the whole damn thing in, sometimes it'll come up if you scroll way down, but mostly it doesn't. So I have to go through all my videos on the channel and find it. If somebody asks about breast cancer, iodine protocols, you know, carnivore diet combination, which is always useful for that. And you can't even find it. It's very weird. I mean, I guess it's their platform and all that, you know, there is that, but this kind of censorship is completely against free speech, totally unethical. Everything's lost when we don't have free speech. Is this happening to any of the vegan channels?
I don't know, because I don't talk to those people behind the scenes personally. I mean, I believe it or not, Phil, I there's not too many vegans that think I'm a great bloke and want to tell me what's going on in their lives so much. All I know for myself is that when you're in a position like I am, and I have based my whole public profile around the YouTube platform, and I've poured my heart and soul into it for 2 years solid, to have it basically completely destroyed from the inside out by the very platform that's been hosting it and making a lot of money out of me, frankly. 40% of all my income over that 2-year period. Sure, I'm not the hugest YouTuber in the world. Sure, I'm not the most famous person in the world. If I was, this wouldn't be a problem. But they are basically destroying my brand. Obviously, I've diversified in terms of I've always tried to get people off the YouTube platform in terms of onto my list of clients who consult with me, about health and nutrition and exercise physiology, all that kind of stuff that I know something about. That's the majority of my actual income now. So, okay, that's a form of insurance, because once I've got those people to subscribe to me on, for example, Patreon or a subscribe star or something like that, or indeed directly, via PayPal or whatever else to be clients, then obviously that's encapsulated that income, if you like. But it still leaves a creator like myself, like yourself, at a point where we're going to burn out completely. And the psychological damage that is done to someone who has put their heart and soul into something like this, to have it ripped out in this fashion, is very, very significant for me anyway. So I recently got to a point where I went, actually, YouTube can take a long, hard suck on my ass, actually, because this is completely unacceptable. And so I kind of made the video announcing, actually, I'm going to pull away from this entirely. So what I have done is, all my videos which are confrontational with respect to other individuals who want to promote vegan cockwomblery or any of that kind of nonsense, all of those are now in my members only area. So if you'd like to become a member of my channel and then resubscribe the next day and then resubscribe the week after that, when they completely unsubscribe you and things, you'll be able to see those videos. They're still there. People have come to my channel and said, where are all your videos? They're all there. They're just behind that paywall. And that will cost you, I think it's the princely sum of $2 US a month or something, $1.99. So crack out your credit cards, boys and girls. Help out a struggling soul, and you'll be able to see all those videos about Paul from Norwich and Richard from Canada and all those kind of blokes. No, you won't see too much about herself from Cholala. But I'll tell you why. The reason for that, it's because I'm a man of my word, and I made a deal with her, and I actually followed through on my part of the deal, and she did not. So there may well be selected musings about her going back up, frankly, at some point when I can be asked doing it, but I'm too busy at the moment. So I've done that. I'm now doing far fewer YouTube videos, and the ones I am doing are interviews with my fine supporters, who all want to tell us their anecdotes, because all we have here is anecdotes, Phil. We don't have any evidence, just anecdotes. So I'm doing that, getting those out there. I have diversified out into the LBRY platform, LBRY.
Why did you choose that over BitChute? Because I'm thinking the same thing, and I'm umming and ahhing, or have you got both, or what was your thinking?
Okay, there were a couple of things involved in that for me. Number one, the size and growth of the LBRY platform looked like it was pretty much a ground floor opportunity. It is having some growing pains. It is having some technical issues, but they're working on it. They're scurrying around like scurry-aroundy things. They're generally, wanting to make it work, wanting to help. They have all the right attitudes in terms of, the freedom of speech and the ability to say what you want to say, and not interfering and not playing censor and all that kind of stuff. It is a web-based peer-to-peer blockchain sort of thing. It's underpinned by a cryptocurrency. That all look like, there's some issues with it, but it's better than the fuckery at YouTube, obviously. I did look at BitChute, only to find that BitChute seems to be a hard right, anti-Semitic supporting channel, overtly, obviously, and that was offensive to me. So I thought, no, I'm not going to be involved in that platform for that reason. Yeah, it's just about while ever I think free speech is a great thing, I think you should be free to talk about reasonable things in a reasonable fashion. I don't think you should be able to come online and be anti-Semitic and hard right and be a supremacist and all this kind of ridiculous nonsense. So that's why BitChute didn't get my vote of confidence, I guess, at the end of the day. As I say, LBRY isn't perfect. It's far from perfect, but it's exponentially better than what's happening at YouTube. Because everyone's going, oh, you can't walk away from YouTube. The size of the YouTube audience is the whole thing. And I go, yeah, great, if you could access it. You can't, if you're me, or if you feel, you know. So that's a
the problem. So how are you getting your stuff across? Are you doing it laboriously, one by one? I found some software and it said, yeah, you can get everything across to BitChute. So I thought, well, if I can do it with one click, I'll give it a go. So you set it off, absolutely nothing happens. And then in the morning, it's still stuck. And then I started Googling around. Everybody's saying, oh, it's bollocks, it doesn't work.
Okay.
Even on one video. So what are you doing for getting them across?
All right. The LBRY system has a YouTube legacy program. If you are a YouTuber of a certain standing, and it's not a huge benchmark that you have to meet in terms of your number of subs and stuff. So I was well within that. You hit a button that says port my channel across, and they do it in the background, and it happens, and it did happen. And now anything I do post to YouTube automatically appears on my LBRY the next day or so by itself. I don't have to do a damn thing.
Oh, that's cool. So does it import all the text and everything, or just the videos? You have to go back and do the text.
It imports
a real noddy here, but people might enjoy this info. You know.
Oh, sure. You know, it imports the text. It imports the video, the description, up to 5 tags, because LBRY uses 5 tags per video. So the top 5 tags will come through. The thumbnail comes across. It really is a cut and paste. It really is porting your stuff across, and it works pretty well. They have had some issues with it in the last week or so, taking longer than it should to port things across. And how they've responded to that is they've said, okay, you do have an option to upload directly still. If you do that for this one video at least, we'll give you 1,000 LBC, which are the credits that the cryptocurrency that underpins the thing. We'll give you those, and so they're now encouraging people to actually upload directly rather than doing the porting thing. So they are reactive. They are trying to help. They are trying to make things work. So the pressure's on their automatic system. So they take the pressure off that system by giving you money to upload directly, which you've got the choice to do, or you can just wait.
What happens when you set off this upload from YouTube? Does it? You obviously, if it's a big channel, it's going to take a while. So what happens if it gets interrupted or something? Does it just pick up automatically where it left off, or you have to?
Yeah. So you hit the button and it says this might take up to a week. In my case, it was done the next day, and I had over 500 videos, and some of those are 3 and 4 hours in length. So it didn't take remotely as long, even as they said it was going to potentially. It happened seamlessly. It was no issue. So what they do.
This might be a stupid question, but you know, and probably techno people, depending on the answer, are going to say what a twat. But I have no idea. So if you say you've created playlists where you've been on somebody else's channel, do they come through as well, or only the ones that you've actually uploaded to your own channel? It doesn't bring the whole channel over with playlists of other people's videos.
Yeah. Playlists is not something that works the same way on LBRY. They don't come across. The way that the visibility thing works on LBRY is that there is no algorithm. That's the other thing I liked about LBRY, that there is no algorithm that says no. Your stuff can't be visible. The way visibility works is that it is underpinned entirely by how many LBRY credits underpin a given channel or a given video on a given channel. That's what brings it up that list. And the way you get credits is that people watch your stuff and they tip you a few fractions of a credit or a few credits or whatever they want to do.
So that's how it works. That's how you get paid. It's not the same kind of thing as adverts and you get paid by
No,
library.
there are no adverts. Well, there are actually, get this right. There are two ways that you can be a viewer on the library platform. You can be an incognito viewer, in which case you're watching ads. Or you can be a verified user, which all that takes is that you have to give them something like your Google account or some other way of verifying you're a real person, even though people have multiple accounts, you know, whatever. Once you're verified, you don't watch advertisements. For verifying, Library will give you a small wallet of credits in the first instance that you can use to support your favorite creators or whatever you like. As a YouTube creator, when they port your stuff across, Library pays me a monthly stipend of credits which is worked out on the basis of what size my channel is and blah, blah, on YouTube. And they just pay that to me every month. So I build up a portfolio of these cryptocurrency credits, and I just use those to underpin my stuff on Library to make it more visible. So that's how that works. I think, you know, a system like the Library system is the way of the future. It's blockchain, which is ideal. There's no algorithm. The way that a video is more or less video is absolutely transparent, clear, and fair for everybody. If you want to invest a whole bunch of money in your own stuff to make it more visible and you've got money to do that, cool. And I don't see a problem with that personally. However, as soon as you if you withdrew the support for because it's removable support. So you might put a £200 gambit on a video, which will bring it up the list of videos in the list of things with those tags. And it will stay there as long as you leave that £200 in place. You can whip that out and put it somewhere else or put it back in your pocket. But obviously that means your video goes down the list. No problem. No censorship, obviously. As long as a video does not break the law, it stays there. There is no one central server where everything is held. It is distributed around the internet in the blockchain virtual server, really, except for the people who are YouTube creators who have done the porting thing. Obviously, they've had to set up servers to host all that shit and until they can get it distributed out there. The other good thing about Library is that people can tag to your videos, repost your videos on their pages in a Facebook style. Oh, I like that. I'm going to post that too. And then they post your video to their page, and anyone that clicks on it goes to your video. You get the view. You get paid if they decide to tip you. So that's a way of getting the word out there. So it looks like the way of the future, the very, very near future, because I'll give you some basic numbers on YouTube. 3 months ago, they had 50,000 registered creators, channels on Library. Last time I looked a few days ago, there were 300,000 in a space of 3 months. And those are all people coming across from YouTube because they're pissed off with it. YouTube is actually positioning itself as the next syndicated cable style service. And they're going to do that using the YouTube platform that they have now. The folks that have created that platform, the creators, they are now not wanted by YouTube. We are actually a pain in the ass. YouTube want you gone yesterday, Phil, and me. The vegans are next week. But what they've done is they've chosen who is it that we most want to get rid of first, and they said, okay, climate change deniers, people who don't follow Agenda 21 in terms of all of that stuff, and people that talk about COVID. Let's get them gone now. Let's make their life very, very difficult. So I'm in all three of those categories, and that's why I'm having such a hard time, I guess. So you could
Yeah,
say, well, it's your
I
own.
think we're guilty of all those too.
Yeah, so you could say, well, it's our own fault. You could say that if you like, but I have a difficulty accepting that standing up for what's right and speaking the truth is in any way, shape, or form any kind of fault.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Yeah.
Anyway, so in terms of the YouTube thing, completely burned out in that respect. So, as I say, all the subversive stuff behind the paywall, just become a member of my channel repeatedly, and you'll be able to watch that material if you want to. If you want to see anecdotes about people who have gone carnivore and found it to be a great thing, or otherwise, I don't know, whatever, that's on my channel as well. So far, it's all positive. Nobody's come on and said, no, carnivore was shit, and I got scurvy and stuff, funnily enough. I also haven't had anyone come to me and say kidney disease was a problem, except beforehand. So good. It seems to be working pretty well. High-level associative stuff fell, of course. There's these high-level associative anecdotes. LBRY, that's happening. I have a course that was put together by a very, very top-level scientist, a very attractive young lady by the name of Pim Johnson, who I hang about with sometimes. And she's got some other clown that she's working with that helped to do this course. It's a 26-week course, video styly. It's all about how to deal with anxiety, both from a nutritional and also from a cognitive behavioral standpoint. 26 weeks, many hours of very fine entertainment there. That's available on the Vimeo platform. I'll link all this shit underneath here so that people can find it. So that's happening. That's new and interesting. It took Pim and that other clown a year actually to put that course together. So that's the fruit of that. So that's now available for people to enjoy.
That sounds fantastic, mate. Yeah, let's get off to while we're saying that and having a plug, get over to thehumanunleashed.com as well. There's 30 days free.
Absolutely.
And we've got a similar thing hosted on Vimeo, and let's get off these platforms. And anyway, what else about it?
So the anti-anxiety course is on Vimeo as well. So that's where that one is hosted. The other thing that I'm doing is I have set up another YouTube channel called the Meat Militia, which is kind of a secret hiding place, I guess, for myself on YouTube. There's not much up there yet because it's got about 500 subs, and I wasn't going to bother doing anything with it until it got over 1,000 and I could get it monetized and whatever. Oh, by the way, LBRY, of course, you monetize the second you upload your first video, because as soon as it's available for someone to watch, they can tip it. So you don't have to wait. Anyway, moving on. The other thing I'm doing is I also have another YouTube channel, which is called It's Round Like. All one word. It's round like. And that's all about the fact that the world that we live on is not a fucking flat disc, you absolute cocktards. No. Oh my God. So what I've found, I don't know if you found this, Phil, but a lot of people who are attracted to the carnivore lifestyle are the kind of people who are also apt to believe all sorts of ridiculous shit, including the world's flat, it's flat. No, it isn't. So there was quite a wave of it at one point. It seems to be the one rabbit hole that they do go down sometimes. You know, I don't know. I don't care what shape it is. I mean, I'm kind of, you know, I'm 98% convinced that it's round. But it's the one bit of doubt that I always keep for everything is not even that it's flat, but just that there's something totally different going on. You know, I think maybe I just did too much acid and mushrooms in my youth. But, you know, you see things that you think, hold on a minute, that could well be a little portal into some other reality. And you think, I wonder if we're actually seeing things right. So when people talk about, you see, if anybody says it's not round, they get called complete nutters. But on this level, I would say in our perception, totally, yeah.
But I wonder if there's something else. I don't know. You know, I always wonder about things like that. From my old hippie days, I always keep that 1% of doubt for everything
Yeah.
except veganism. Now,
Sure.
veganism, that's shite.
Yeah. Oh, yes. That's the one thing that we can absolutely, completely agree on.
But I'm definitely not a flat earther. Don't worry, Bart.
Good, good. Okay, so that channel exists as well for your viewing and entertainment pleasure, whereby I run through the physics and the science as we understand it, and I point to the exact reasons why we can state with 100% surety in the objective reality in which we actually find ourselves that the globe is an oblate spheroid without any question. Every single observation that can possibly be made to test that hypothesis bears it out, and not a single one points to it being flat.
Isn't it funny though that you know, as soon as you start, I've noticed it on Facebook. As soon as you start saying something like, "Do you know what? All these docs coming out saying hydroxychloroquine might well be an answer here." You know, how about the fact that a virus might not be exactly, maybe it could be an upload, and yes, it spreads around as a virus does, but it's a natural thing that happens in nature, and then you get all these people going, "Oh well, you're a conspiracy theorist and flat earther." How did you make that leap? How the fuck did you make that leap? We just question stuff, you know, because anything that comes out of TV, for God's sake, you got to question. But it's so funny, and this expression "flat earther" and conspiracy theory is very strange, but it gets slapped on you all the time, doesn't it?
Yep, exactly. And or science denier, if you support
climate change
species,
denier.
climate change. So,
COVID denier.
Use the word denier at someone, and what you're actually doing is you're invoking the thought in the minds of everybody else of the Nazis. That's what you're doing. If you use the word denier at someone, you're calling them a Nazi without calling them a Nazi. So, you know, someone that wants to support, for example, a species appropriate diet for human beings, which is carnivore, you know, you're a science denier. No, I absolutely insist upon science. That's why I've come to the conclusion I've come to. And science, by the way, is experimental, isn't it? Yes. It's not high-level associative stuff. And there is no valid hierarchy of evidence. This thing that they'll keep throwing at you, the hierarchy of evidence. It's nonsense. Science is what's called a dichotomous positivist endeavor. What we do is we set up hypotheses. We say, here is the relationship between variable A and variable B that we expect to see in the real world if we control everything else, and we check. So we set up the hypothesis. We say, we expect to see this relationship. Then we do the experiment, diddly-do. We get some results, some outcome statistics. We throw them into a statistics program, and we go, give me the answer. And computer says, yes, your hypothesis is accepted, or no, it's rejected. It's a 1 or a 0. There's no shades of grey in there for science. The only shade of grey that comes in is that the yes or no decision is made with, in most sciences, 95% confidence. In medicine, they go for 99% confidence. Whatever. But what you get is a 1 or a 0. So every individual study that you can possibly bring to the table is either a 1 or it's a 0. So this is the issue I had with R.V. Bitterman a few weeks back when he wanted to have a debate. I don't know if you kind of followed that one, probably not, but he contacted me. Oh my God. He contacted me and said, well, he contacted me by way of making a video saying, I'm challenging Bart Kay to a debate. Come on, Bart Kay, have a debate with me and stuff. And he wanted to suggest to me that his proposed moot point was that low-density lipoprotein cholesterol is causally associated with the development of atherosclerotic coronary heart disease. So I was like, that'll be great because you've lost before you start. because I'll tell you what's available in the literature with respect to that question. A multitude, a huge pile of research, all of which are zeros. All of them. So I don't know, Phil, how it's done up there in the UK at school, but when I went to school down here, if you take 0 and you add 0 and 0 and 0 as many fucking times as you want to, what's the sum?
Yep, 0 every time.
Right, so what he wanted to do was say, oh, we must share references in advance. Absolutely, Avi, of course, great idea. And he wanted to, first of all, he wanted to have no limit on the number of references. I said, well, how are you going to have a debate, a sensible debate about what it says in the science, if there's no limit to the number of papers you can bring to the table, all of which add up to 0, and all of which will take a few minutes for me to point to why it's a 0? How do we get through that stuff in any reasonable period of time? If you've got a 1, any 1 will do, because that's what you're mooting. You're mooting that you've got a 1, that there is a causal artifact that is established which proves that cholesterol causes heart disease. So bring it to the table. Tell you what, Avi, I'll be generous. You can have 5 if you want to. 5 papers that we'll cover in, say, a 2-hour debate, which will be structured and there'll be rules. No, that was no good for him. And he ran away. We're shitting his pants. This is what we're talking about with these, and what they want to do is they want to obfuscate their responsibility to support their positive claims with actual evidence. They want to fabricate science, and a hierarchy of evidence is a fabrication of science. It's a bastardization. Here's why. If you look at the hierarchy of evidence, right down the bottom, at the very lowest level of veracity, you will find opinions and consensus. So I say, great, let's look at this hierarchy of evidence, and it says this kind of paper is the best, this one's next, this one's. So what number is applied to that? What's the measurement that says that's better? How much better? What is the scientific measurement tool here? It's just the consensus of everybody in science. Where does that sit on the hierarchy of evidence, I wonder? Right down at the fucking bottom. So the thing debunks itself. I see. But these are the tools these veg-tarded fuckknuckles will use to try and prey upon people who, frankly, are vulnerable. And that's why I've done what I've done all along. That's why I've stood up against this. But that's what I'm now being punished for having done.
I know it's not welcome. I mean, you know me, I know fuck all about science, but I admit that I know fuck all about science. However, I know that I've looked at enough of it to know 10 times more than the people who think that they're experts in science because they've read a newspaper headline that begins with "scientists say." Yes. Like, all I do is I say, I have no idea about science. If you want to hear about that, go listen to Bart, go listen to Paul Saladino. You want to hear some diet science? I just know that this shit works. That's it. I'm just that simple. It works. And to me, anecdotes are so much more reliable than the kind of science that you find on the front of the Daily Mail, you know? So that it's so obvious to me. And I think it's so hard, isn't it? Not to be a conspiracy. I'm not going to call it. I'm going to call it a conspiracy realist these days, because all this stuff that's happening, all this stuff that's happening, is happening to people who are actually speaking the truth. And I know they're speaking truth because I've got personal experience of it, and I consult with people, and they seem to get better. And then all the tales in all the carnival groups. I mean, we're not talking about a couple of people. We're talking about 80,000 or something, across the groups. This is not useless anecdotes. And so I know it's bollocks, and I know full well, which somebody who just eats pizza and whatever and goes to their doctor, they're never going to know that how upside down diet science was, how it's been incredibly perverted. And so they're never going to see that the people who are speaking these wonderful truths, they're healing people. Well, let's say empowering people to heal themselves. That's much more important. Yeah. And these are the ones being shut down. Come on, these people up the top are not stupid enough to look. I don't believe there's anybody up the top of sort of these mega food corporations who don't know that they're killing people now. I don't believe it. These people are not sitting there thinking any of this shit's healthy. So they know about this stuff. They know all the diet science is bollocks. So does pharma. And so what's going on here? Why are people being shut down? There's something nasty going on. You know, this is not accidental.
No, of course not. The reason that we're being shut down is because we pose a very real, very immediate and very genuine threat to their bottom right-hand corner. They absolutely rely upon keeping you sick and behooving to their system. They want you coming back again and again and again for more of the kibble. And when that destroys your health, they need you going to the good folks at the NHS for your good drugs that they'll give you, which will destroy your health still further and leave you ever more locked into that system, frankly. Every single time you have an election up there in the UK, every single time, our NHS is always at the forefront, isn't it? It's always the big issue. The only time it was ever bloody second was when Brexit was the cause du jour. And it was still a close second to that, because people are so absolutely enslaved to poor health. Please give me the name of any NHS doctor that has cured anybody of anything, ever. No. They intervene either surgically or pharmacologically, and their interventions are usually, you know, worse than the melody that was in place beforehand, frankly.
It's so funny, isn't it, when they say, I did a video, eat fatty meat, get plenty of sun, protect the NHS, save lives. Because, you know...
How dare you, Phil? How dare you?
Everybody who's sitting in there, it is sitting in there because of that. I mean, how simple is it to save the NHS? Fuck the whole lot off except for A&E. Hello. That's it, you know? Amazing.
Yep. Exactly. I mean, the amount of money that is poured down that plug hole, the NHS plug hole, you know, our NHS, our free healthcare, get fucked. You're paying for it. Your taxes are paying for it. Are you out of your minds? Free healthcare? It's not free. Bloody expensive. And I don't just mean financially. I mean, you make yourself subservient to the allopathic medicine model, and you're asking for a shorter, less quality filled life. You follow gold standard advice on nutrition. You're asking for obesity, diabetes, cancer, heart disease, early death. You know, just open your eyes and have a look at the public health statistics. If this information was any fucking good at all, people would be healthy. Just go to any village in the UK anytime you like and just look around. I remember I was in Preston one afternoon, in the centre of Preston, and I was walking through the cobblestones in front of where the clock tower is there in Preston, and looking around. You know, 3 of the 4 sides of the square are stalls of people selling junk food. The 4th side of the square was a great big long shop front, and it was Greg's, funnily enough. You know, and there's a woman pushing a double wheelchair with 2 kids that are both too big to be in pushchairs, and another kid slightly bigger than that, dragging the chain behind, bitching about life on a grey old, you know, UK winter's afternoon sort of thing. And I can only assume that the kid had asked for something else for once. But all I remember is this chavvy woman going, "No Chardonnay, we're having bakery." Oh, fuck me. You know, and this woman was as fat as holy fuck. I make no apology for describing her as such. The kids, roly-poly and fat as fuck. You know, rotten teeth, rotten attitude, rotten life. Not their fault, not the kids' fault. probably not the mum's fault either, really.
Absolutely.
You know, we're not all born with the same intellectual gifts, I guess, or of the same, you know. You know, despair basically is all you can look at there and go, oh my God, you know, is there any hope
I
for?
know those Greg's pasties are called concourse dummies around here because the kids have all got them like this in the pushchair. And I realised that the other day, I mean, when this lockdown, or not the lockdown, the mandatory masks came in, you know, and I just jumped out of bed, just dying to get down to the shops without a mask on, just to run around. And the kids, you know, they get cross with me if I go the right way down the arrows in the aisles. You know, say, Dad, you've got to go the wrong way down the aisles. And I just love the way my kids have got this attitude to it.
Yeah.
I realized I was actually one of the, in that cartoon that is going around now, where there was a great big fat bloke in a mobility scooter with a mask on, really staring at me, going, "You're going to ruin my health." I'm like,
so
come on,
here's
dude.
the thing about that. Here's the thing. If his mask works, why do you need to wear one?
I know, absolutely. Oh, but it's I'm a granny killer. You see, I'm a granny killer if I don't wear one. I'm murdering somebody's granny.
Well, shouldn't Granny be wearing a mask then? If masks work, all Granny has to do is put a mask on and she's safe, isn't it? It's exactly the same argument for vaccination, isn't it?
Yeah, well, just just before I came home to do this chat with you, we were out mucking about in some field with the kids, and this lady came along walking her dog, and she was talking to my daughter and saying, "Oh, you're missing school and whatever." And I'd gone back to the car to get some water, and I started chatting to her, and it was amazing. She's 79. She was really in good shape. She was really sprightly, really fantastic attitude, such good sense of humor. But she had a mask in her pocket because she'd been listening to the TV. Some people are very terrified, but she wasn't. But it took me 2 minutes to disassemble the whole thing. And she said, she was just beaming. And she was saying, "This is why we used to make real food when we were kids. We had actual food. We could identify it. This is what's going on. I can't believe it." She gave me this big hug. And she was just totally disabused of all this noise. She's saying it's just taken the fear away. And there must be so many people just on the edge. You know, okay, there are some people totally lost in this and terrified, but loads of these people are just on the edge of seeing through it. It's not making sense to them. You know, it's not making sense. And this lady, she was just fantastic to talk to. And she just thought, well, God, it's all this ancestral wisdom, isn't it? You know, if we act like our grandparents did, everything would be cool. And I just ran her through all the sort of strip lights and LEDs and Wi-Fi and all that shit, then getting stuck in computers and all that and on your phone. She's going, this just makes such sense. It's so simple, isn't it? You can actually explain it to somebody in about 2 minutes, how stupid the whole palaver is. And she went, I'm so lucky. She's been saying, well, you know, my husband doesn't even have flu jabs. I said, well, so he shouldn't. I go, oh, but I've had mine, but I've had such good doctors. And I'll say, I would actually argue with you there. I'd say you probably haven't had good doctors if they've been saying that you should be jamming yourself with a flu jab. Because if there's even conceivably anything useful about any vaccines, it's certainly not the flu jab. And you know, she was great. And there must be so many of them like that out there who just need to be woken up, and they must know that. And if they let fuckers like us stay and talk about that, we're going to get through to them. You know, if they put those doctors outside the hospital on the mainstream news just once, instead of saying Trump's been tweeting at somebody who says that you get fibroids from screwing demons in your dreams. You know, is that what you're really going to pick up on that whole thing, you wankers? You wake so many people really quick because they're glued to the TV. It's such a shame, man. But,
so that's why they're against, I think, Phil. It's because the truth actually will set people free, and the last thing that these fucktards want is the people to be set free. They want you behaving, they want you under control, they want you under the thumb, they want you scared, they want you afraid. Yeah, even down here in New Zealand, when all this shit was going on, we sat in our fucking houses for 7 weeks. Do you know how many people have died of COVID in New Zealand? 22.
Yes,
22. Do you know how many live cases of COVID we have in New Zealand now? None. None at all.
Oh, God. And are there masks there now?
No, because there's no COVID.
Oh, okay.
And I wouldn't wear one anyway myself because,
is this because they're testing correctly, though? Is this because they're actually testing or they're faking it? Because my partner works in care homes. We've had a guy on, early on in one of our episodes who was saying, look, these are not, these are being fiddled. I've seen some of these. I've seen, all over the place, like 100% fiddled in some wards and care homes. So is it that there's even it's just bollocks, isn't it, man? I mean, these things go round. You've got to be exposed. You've got to have a curve of some shape or another and let nature take its course. But what's going to happen? What's going to happen now with the sniffles? People getting ordinary sniffles around autumn time, around the equinox, when everybody always does. And people are going to be freaking. It's unbelievable. Oh, second wave. Yeah, right.
Yeah. And this thing's a virus. It's real. It's not made up. It is being transmitted. It will be transmitted. Every human on the planet will be exposed to COVID-19. You cannot prevent that from occurring. Slowing it down is not going to have any impact on the impact of this disease on the human population. X number of people are going to die, whether we like that or not, actually. The only way to prevent that is for every single human being to get into a hermetically sealed bubble and remain there for all time and never touch another human being and never be in contact with it. It just isn't going to work.
And how useful would that be for our immune systems, Bart?
Well, exactly. It would destroy it, wouldn't it? So, yeah. Okay. So those who are predisposed to die are going to die. In actual fact, most of those people have already died. That has occurred. I believe the global toll is something like 600,000 deaths at this point. Those are the people that were predisposed. Next year, when wave 2 occurs, who's going to be killed? Well, nobody, because those people who were predisposed to die have died. You can't kill somebody again, can you? They're already dead. Anyway, logic and stuff. Never mind that. Let's just go with some anecdotes and make sure what we say is very, very frightening for people.
Yeah, this has been so much of my content recently, just taking the fear away. I mean, whether it's by, a complete change of attitude or just seeing the hilarity in some of it. I mean, I was watching one of Boris Johnson's speeches a while ago. I turned the TV on for about 2 minutes a day just to see what lunacy they'd come up with. And I was crying, I was absolutely crying at this speech. It was such utter wankery. It was unbelievable. And if you can see it through those eyes, it just kind of takes the fear away, doesn't it? It's like, come on, when are they just going to pack this in? It's entertaining, but it's a bloody nuisance, and that's about it. If people can have that attitude, and it's pretty easy to have that attitude when you do understand actual science. Whether even if people believe it's an exosome or something, that's cool. Then that's fine. There's nothing to be frightened of. If people look at actual decent virus science that's around, that is way ahead of the stuff that they're touting on the TV, then it's okay as well. So there's nothing to fucking worry about, is there?
No.
The only time is if you're watching the TV, and then that's the only thing that ever frightens you.
Yeah. The whole thing, is it a virus or is it an exosome? This whole Andrew Kaufman fucking nonsense. They're not mutually exclusive. Yes,
absolutely.
It's an exosome. Yeah. It's an exosome containing viral particles, you cockknockers.
Well, you see, you can say cockknockers now, but I'm just, for me, I just go on intuition. And I thought, I'll listen to Kaufman earlier on. I was listening to, because I thought, what he's saying is actually making more sense than the TV. So let's listen to that, and then let's listen to loads of other stuff. I listened to your talk on that too, I was like, oh yeah, okay. And then you listen to other stuff. I think Zach Bush is quite good on it, that it's an essential upgrade for the human body. It's all, it's like, sometimes you upgrade your operating system and everything's great, and sometimes it fucks the whole computer up, and that's normal.
Not turn off your computer.
yeah, and so the computer's fucked anyway. So that's your fatty in the mobility scooter. You know, he gets an upgrade. It's not going to take, and it's not going to work as it's supposed to be, because it finds a host that isn't really what it was expecting. This is not a human being. This is an accumulation of whole grains and soy, and so I can't work with this, and then trouble might happen. So, you know, I just do it from my own intuition, but all I do know is that what's going on the TV is bollocks. I mean, it was interesting to hear your thing straight after I listened to Kaufman. And I thought, I'd go and have a listen to what Bart says about that. You know, it was interesting. But, you know, I just think all these people deserve a voice, because once all those voices are together, you can't just have one party line of this Fauci lunatic saying what's going on. You know, you've got to have all the people who are considering this from all angles and come through, and then the cream rises to the top. You know, if you take the cream away and you have your fucking homogenized fat-free milk, there's no cream to rise to the top, is it? And everything on the TV is homogenized fat-free milk. All the knowledge. Where did that come from? Anyway,
You can get some cream from the bitch, correct? Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Well, Phil, cool. have we put the world to rights once again? I don't think so.
I think we have. We've had a bit of COVID chat, which is inevitable. Not a little bit of a rant about that, but I mean, I think that's great. And you've really inspired me about this library thing. I'm going to go and take a look at it.
I'll send you a link. I'll send you a personal link. I'll also put it under the video, folks. You just hit that personal link, and then if you do that, then library will give you some free credits, basically, and they'll give me some as well.
Oh, cool. And then, yeah, absolutely.
And then once you get your own, then you can start inviting people as well. And
yeah, there's nothing to be lost for me. I mean, I've got to get it over there. If I can do it in one hit, because I'm a tech twat. If I can do it in one hit, then it's all backed up somewhere nice. And to be honest, I'm so disorganized. If I had to pull my YouTube channel back together from all my ridiculous amounts of stuff on hard drives, I'm fucked. It'd take me a year. So, yeah, great. Thank you.
And if nothing else, Phil, if you've got your stuff on library, it's backed up. But it's not just backed up in one place in a building on a server that can be burned down, can be taken down, can be taken over by the government of any country, anywhere. It's distributed out there in the ether world on computers all over the place. Nobody can get to it. It's absolutely safe. You have full control over its visibility and everything there. You're in charge. Look, anyone that's not on library, that's a creator, get yourselves there. The link will be under this video for you to be able to set that up. It is a push button. Please make my YouTube channel into a library channel, and it will just mirror the whole thing in the background. It really is simple. I too am a complete technophobe, believe it or not. My God, it's an absolute nightmare for me to even worry about that kind of stuff, but it was just as simple as you like. That said, library are having some teething issues with their tech. There is buffering issues. There are problems with the size of their server and stuff, because they were not expecting quite such the explosion of growth on library, because library, were not expecting YouTube to behave like such. See you next Tuesdays, really. Anyway, YouTube have chosen to go that way, and it's pushing people en masse across to library. So get it done. There you go. Last words, Phil. You're in charge.
No, I don't. No last words on that. You know, I just wanted to chat to you about this. I picked your brains, and that's great. It's been a big inspiration for me to hit that button. And so just, send me some links and bung me this over, and we'll get it on both channels. And there we go.
All right. Brilliant. Boys and girls, thanks for joining us once again. Those were our people today. That's Nutrition News Tonight. He's been Phil. I've been a very, very bad bald man, apparently. And we'll see you next week, when people will probably continue to be wrong on the internet, probably about the shape of the world and stuff. Do go and have a look at my channel. It's round like, all one word. That's what you want to have a look at, and check us out in library. Also check out the anti-anxiety course, if you wouldn't mind. It's good. You can buy the whole thing or rent the whole thing, or you can do it by episodes if you want, if you just want to dip in and out for various different subtopics. It's a great course. Get involved. See you around soon, boys and girls. Ciao.
See ya.